You're listening to the LaRocque Life Podcast, where hosts Michael and Laura explore relationships, adventure, freedom, and just some all-around real and raw conversations. Drawing from their 17 years together with a bit of sarcasm, humor, tears, a few and lots of love. They deep dive into the male and female perspective on relationships and navigate the highs and lows of life together. Sit back, grab your love mug, and let's get into today's conversation.
All right, babe. Episode 31. We're here. As much as I came kicking and screaming, we are here.
Yeah, but your kicking and screaming gave me a really good topic to sink into for us. I came up with the idea that we should talk about this because it has been a really reoccurring theme for my clients this week, and even in other coaches that I've seen sharing online. And then we brought it home tonight, both of us. So
totally.
That was a few hours ago. And so, yeah, I mean, it's all good, right?
Oh, massively. Yeah. I just, today for myself anyway, just took on a lot of energy from everyone around me. And there's just a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
Just a lot of people, a lot of different ideas going on, and work's getting down to the crunch time, things like that. So just feeling everyone's energy, and just, it was quite draining.
Mm-hmm.
I'd come home and ideally I just like to do nothing, lay on the floor and watch TV, but that doesn't get us anywhere. I've been there, done that, right?
And that's something really good I think we can come back to. But I think we should tell our listeners what we're going to talk about today.
What are we talking about, Laura?
I kind of just jumped in there before you got to ask me like that question that you always ask me. But okay, so today we're going to talk about feeling all the feels and supporting your partner in 2020. And the last part of in 2020, I think, is the most important aspect of that, because this has been a roller coaster of a year. It's only getting more roller coaster-y, if that's a word. And so today we're going to talk about feeling all the feels and supporting your partner. And this is for those of you that are feeling caught up in the crazy energy of 2020. And especially now, so at the time of this recording, it's mid to late November. And so we're just ramping up for what's to come.
I don't know.
So you're probably listening to this 2 to 3 weeks later. So things are either going to be crazier and you're going to need this information, or maybe they've cooled down, but I highly doubt it. So, but either way, what we share with you, is applicable to any part of your life, just extra applicable.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. By no means they need 2020 as an excuse to be lazy and do nothing and feel shitty.
And ways to support your partner, how to navigate your feelings, and how to support your partner and strengthen your relationship. That's what we're going to talk about. Obviously that's an anytime thing. It's just, we will talk about a little bit more of what's going on, not what's going on today, because we all have our thoughts and we all have our beliefs on that. And you're listening to us for relationships, adventure, and freedom. Mm-hmm. And so we're gonna dive into that stuff. Maybe our point of views, I'm sure our point of views come through and come across, and maybe one day we will share specifically on that. You let us know if you want to know, but let's dive into this.
No, I'm 100%. I like where your head's at. Like I said, I had to it's really not feeling it tonight, but we committed to things and to get things done. And it's so easy to let it slide. And we talk about it before, where we play off each other quite a bit, especially in any kind of relationship. So I was putting it out there, just hoping to Jesus that you would just say, well, yeah, let's do it tomorrow night. But you didn't, right? And then that's where we play off each other, which is great. Or we're accountable, right?
We are now.
It goes both ways.
We talked about that, I think, last week, how we used to be like, hey, you want junk food? Yeah, because I was just waiting for you to say yes. And now we're both pretty strong that we're able to hold the other person up through those moments. Because even on the weekend, I text you, I had to go into the store to drop something off. So I text you, want a treat? And I was waiting for you to say yes. I was standing in front of the treats being like,
Had it in your hand already?
It's give me the go ahead and I am out of here with this. But you said, no, you're good. So then I was like, okay, I'm good too.
Guilted into the health.
Yeah. And only because I was like, Sunday, today's the day I can eat something. But for not eat something, I mean, I eat all the time and I eat whatever I want, but I just choose healthier alternatives. But I'm really glad because that was a bad choice. It was in front of just like so much processed sugar. I would have felt like shit.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, like, and then tonight, right, you're like just waiting for me to say no, but I'm like, no, we need to do it tonight because we're running out of time. We
got lots of stuff on the go, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we got things to do.
And I think for me to say we're running out of time is actually kind of a shock to hear that come out of my mouth, because as a more feminine woman, I usually tend to feel like freeze and feel paralyzed the moment I hear that there is a lack of anything. Like if there's a lack of time or a lack of money or anything, I'm just suddenly like, I don't feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't want to do it. But I honestly, well, not that I don't want to do it. It's just that I shut down. Like I have zero creativity. I have zero, like, not in touch with my intuition, but we literally are running out of time, and I'm okay with that because this is very logical because we are moving in like less than a week, and there's going to be some shifts happening in our life for a little bit. And so we made this commitment for this podcast and we want to get them out. So we are running out of time, but not in a bad way.
Totally.
Okay. So what I had jotted down for some notes quick that I've been seeing this week is that so much stuff is coming up for people, so many emotions, so many feelings. And I mean, rightfully so. As a collective, we're in a crazy place right now. I mean, like we've never been in this, right?
Most people haven't been here. Yeah.
No. And so, and even like in history, yes, there's been pandemics, there's been wars, there's been loss of freedoms, there's been all of these things, but they were generally pretty straightforward.
Well, they're just people, you didn't have that platform, right? Everyone has an opinion now. Everyone has platforms. Everyone has real news, fake news, whatever the real, like whatever the truth is.
Yeah.
So everyone has all these questions. Whereas before it was like, here's your one newspaper,
you just listen and do
whatever they said. Yeah.
Yeah. And so right now is like a crazy time. It has never existed.
Nope.
And our nervous systems are in fight or flight, like nonstop. Yeah. You're going to hear me talk a little bit about the mainstream news tonight because it is literally designed, like it is propaganda. It is literally designed. It's one-sided. It is designed to show you what they want you to see.
And it's no secret. Like that's fucking, they admit to it, right? Like it's no secret at all.
And I remember learning that in history class too. Like, but anyways, if you look at who they're all owned by, you definitely know that they're telling you what they want you to know. And it is all based on fear, because when people are scared and they're in fear, they will do anything.
Or extremely obedient,
right? We just want to feel safe. I mean, it's human nature. We just want to feel safe. So I'm only sharing that again to give you an idea of just what is going on in the world. You can't look one way. Typically, if you're either on the internet, on the TV, or even out in public now without being scared of something.
100%.
And this is the uncertainty. There's the division, disconnect. Like we can't even see each other's faces. You can't smile at people. People are like, oh, I think I'm too close to you. Or do you want me to be closer? Like, and people, if you're wearing a mask, they look at you like you got 5 heads. If you're not wearing a mask, they look at you like you're wearing 5 heads. Like there's just so much craziness. People are afraid of dying and like, just so many things, right? So it's a crazy, crazy time. And I feel like so many of us are trying to dodge the feelings. Like,
totally. And not even running away, but just not, and then not supporting each other either at the same time. So we're doing everything that we shouldn't do, right?
Yeah. And everything maybe that they want us to do. Disconnect from humanity, from each other.
Man, it's so fucked up. Like it's beyond fucked up, but 100%, like in reality, we should just be leaning on our partners, leaning on our friends, leaning on our family. And that's what we're made for. That's how we got this far. That's how we are where we are.
We are wired for connection.
Absolutely. Right. And we're so far away from that. It's messed up. It's scary how far away from it we are. Like, if you can't even see your like grandparents, you can't hug them. Like that's fucked up. That's not even, I don't give a fuck if you got whatever you got. Like it's so messed up. It's not even, anyway.
Yeah.
Well, carry on. I can't even.
You can't talk about it anymore because
No.
you're going to make me cry too.
I can't articulate it. Yeah.
I never got to see my grandma since Christmas because the last time I was about to go see her, I decided not to because it would have had to been 6 feet apart with a mask.
Oh no, that was.
And she has pretty much dementia, and our visits have been holding hands, sitting beside each other, holding hands, and I would just go wherever she would go with the conversation. And I didn't get that. Yeah. So anyways, we'll come back to this. Okay. Sorry, that really threw me off. So everyone's feeling the fears right now. Some of you are scared about your jobs. Some of you are afraid about money. I mean, the economy they say that's tanking. I mean, again, I'm going to talk a little bit later about the power of our minds, but also, I mean, we live in a 3D world, but on the spiritual side of things, there's a lot of talk about 5D and something bigger than what this is, and feeling things differently, seeing things differently, shifting things differently. And I know a lot of you who are listening will understand because you're empathic, you're very connected.
Yeah, if you made it this far,
yeah, there is something more and deeper to this world. But in this 3D world, we're afraid of our jobs, we're afraid of money, we're afraid of dying, we're afraid of, well, not afraid of, but we miss our families, we're grieving what used to be. And those are all really, really real feelings.
Yeah, totally.
And so again, going back to this whole, like, I think a lot of us are just trying to cope and push it to the side, right? And that doesn't do us any good. This is the trend I've been seeing this week is a lot of these emotions coming up again collectively. There's a lot of shit coming up to the surface for people. And I've been getting this question of like, I just feel terrible. Like I can't make it go away. And my response to my clients has been, well, why are you trying to make it go away? Like it's a messenger. It's telling you something. So that anxiety, that depression, that sadness, that grief, that anger is a really big one right now too.
Right.
And even on the empowered side, like love and like peace, those are all those are all feelings as well that are teaching us something. But because we're so prone to want to push away the negative feelings, we'll talk about those. And I just said, well, why aren't you leaning into it?
Mm-hmm. Well, what does that even mean? Like when you say lean into it, what are you doing?
So, and that's exactly what my client said. Like,
tell me more.
We're trained that like, you need to feel good, right? Feel good. If you don't feel good, then this is a bad thing. Like maybe you're a failure or, and life does suck when you don't feel good.
Right.
But, so we all are aiming for this feel good. And when I say lean into it, it means feel the feels, feel the suck, right? Like cry, get mad, punch pillows, call someone, like feel depressed, eat a bag of chips. Like if it's for a day, like I fully give you permission to do that for a day, not for a week.
Right.
But essentially where I go with my clients is that these emotions are something that has been suppressed in you and there's something triggering them. So whether it is the outer events of the world, whether it's something that like a interaction you had with a person, and it may just be that you are doing some work on yourself and now you're allowing them to come to the surface. And so energy right now is chaotic. So I feel like that's one of the big things bringing stuff to the surface, like a lot of emotions and feelings to the surface. And a lot of people are like, I don't know what to do with this. And so they just ignore it and then they feel terrible. But when I say lean in, it means that you just slow down, allow yourself to be in the suck and ask questions. I always teach my clients, ask questions. Like, what are you here to teach me?
Who are you asking? Like you're asking yourself this? Or
yeah, I'm asking myself. I'm asking my feelings. I'm asking my body. I'm asking my soul. Like it's, what are you here to teach me? What do I need to let go of? How can I love myself? How should I take care of myself? Do I just need to be taking better care of myself? And generally the thing is that when we start asking those questions, or even just allowing ourselves to feel shitty, like feel sad and cry, feel angry and punch pillows, write out a letter and burn it. Like
Right.
when we allow ourselves to go there, I have been saying this multiple times this week too. It's like a child. It's like a toddler. You can keep ignoring them and they're going to keep pissing you off, or keep like,
Oh yeah.
mom,
I know, eh? He's getting good at that.
right? Mom. And if you're just like, go away, I'm busy doing something. Or like, I'm doing the dishes. I'll come when I'm done, or whatever. It's like, what do you need? But if you actually turned around, get down at their level and say, hey, what's up?
Right.
I'm here for you. What do you need? Then generally they're like, oh, I don't even know anymore. Like, and just run away.
Yeah,
right?
give you a quick hug and go.
It just wants your attention. Yeah, like they just might need a hug, need some love, need a kiss, need you to look at their project and then carry on, right?
Yeah.
So this is a perfect prime example of your feelings. They're the exact same thing. You can ignore them and tell them to just wait, or to be quiet, or this isn't a good time, and they'll keep nagging. They'll keep being there.
Right.
But if you just turn around. So when I say lean in, this is like you turning around to the toddler and kneeling down to their level and just saying, what do you need?
Mm-hmm.
What do I need? What are you teaching me? What do I need to let go? I already said the questions. And this is the surprising part that most people don't get, because most people are so busy trying to run away from that shitty feeling.
Yeah.
Is that the moment you do that, it goes away.
Yeah. Well, we're just so conditioned, right, to always be looking for that outside thing to make us feel better.
Yeah.
Like whether it is food, TV, video games, whatever that looks like,
Yeah.
gambling, drinking, anything.
Yeah.
So I look for everything outside yourself to not, right?
Mm-hmm.
But again, always go back to like when you're out in the bush by yourself or with your family, like it's all you had was your
Mm-hmm.
thoughts, right? And just some faith and belief. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's so messed up. Like I find myself doing that a lot. It's definitely gotten better, but always chasing that outside thing, right? This next thing will be better. This
Mm-hmm.
next whatever. Got to buy the next greatest fucking phone, anything, right? Or
Yeah, it'll make me happy.
yeah, or even tools like, oh, I need this tool because it'll make everything that much better, or whatever, right? It never
then
does.
It just collects dust.
It does, right? It's however good you are at things, like even audio or video or anything, like you need the latest and greatest camera, but if you don't know how to do the settings on the camera, it doesn't fucking matter.
Mm-hmm.
Or anything. Yeah.
The other version would be just fine.
Oh,
for what
absolutely,
you
right?
need.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's what we're trained to do from a really young age. We've talked about that on previous podcasts, where all the way down to the soother in your mouth, the rocking, the, all the things that we just do to soothe our emotions instead of allowing our babies to cry. If they're fed, they're they're dry, they're not thirsty. What's wrong with crying? But we you got to stop this baby from crying.
I seen a video about that like last year, 2 years ago, where there was a video of a guy did that. Like he's just supporting his son, his like kid. I can't remember how old he was, but
yeah, that was like a real viral thing. It wasn't even like that long ago. I don't even think it was a year.
But then they're just he was just bullshitting with him, talking, and his kid was crying, and then he just let him cry for 10 minutes or whatever. But like hugged him or held his hand or did something, right?
Yeah,
like he was there with him,
all over him.
Yeah, and he was like safe space. But then people are like freaking out about letting their kid cry or letting. Yeah, I mean that's again social media where you can have an opinion and whatever else.
People got really mad about that, and that just goes to show how trained we are. That like you don't show emotion, and the guy was like, "My kid's just crying. Like I'm here for him." Like,
oh, totally. You notice a big difference with Lennox, right? You do that a lot, where just let him be emotional for 5-10 minutes and just be there, support him, hug him. Like you do that a lot for him, and he comes out the other end. Then afterwards, cleans up his face. Is like, oh, needed that, and then just go carry on, right?
He's just happy. And I've been doing with that with Lennox since I think he was 9 months old when I really dove into this aware parenting, and that's what it was all about. And I loved their analogy, and I started doing it with Lennox, and I noticed a huge difference with him. But one thing I noticed that I can equate to like an adult is there was moments like when he would be crying in my arms, there was moments where he'd be pushing me away and he was so angry at me.
Right.
But then all of a sudden he would like hug me and then like want hugs and cuddles and kisses, but then like be angry. And I think that that's so powerful too, because as adults, we think that all those emotions are wrong. We've been taught somewhere along the way that those emotions we're not allowed to show them or we're not allowed to feel them, but they're all emotions. Anger is the same emotion as happiness.
Right.
It's just looked at in a bad way. But as long as you're not out there like hurting somebody and punching someone in the face because you're angry, but anger is passion. It's an emotion that needs to move through you. And so I just think it's really cool to witness that in a child and be like, it's okay. Like, just push me if you need to, as like a baby, right? Like, just, he's showing his emotion, but yet as adults, the moment we start trying to show emotion, we make everyone uncomfortable around us and shut down, right? Or other people around us shut down. So I think that's a really good opportunity to dive into the next little point that I had made, which I guess to kind of cap off too on what you said, like, how do you lean into it? I forgot to say too that there is like a fine line between allowing yourself to feel it and be in it for days, weeks, months, right? That's where your depression will roll out forever.
Oh yeah, and it just feeds off itself and just gets more and more and more.
Because then there's also this line between allowing yourself to feel it and be with it. And it lasts a few days. It maybe lasts an hour. It might last 5 minutes as you get used to doing this, right? And showing your emotions attention. But then you have to decide in your mind, okay, am I milking this for everything it's worth just to give myself an excuse to do nothing, like not do a podcast tonight?
Yeah, totally.
Or is it time that I shift my energy and I shift my state and I just go do it? Because I know that once I get on this podcast, I'll feel really great and I love doing this and this will charge me up and this will be like a form of self-care, right? But it's just making that 5-second choice to do something different. So only you will know when your time of coming out of that is or what that looks like for you. But I had just wrote down that, journaling and moving your body and eating healthy, knowing when to reach out to someone and when to talk to them and share your feelings, get out in nature, listen to music, laugh, cry, punch pillows. Like, those are all ways that you can lean into your shitty feelings.
Yeah, no, that's fair. All those things make sense, right? And those are all the things when you're fucking depressed that you don't want to do.
Yes, exactly. Not just it's easier to watch TV.
It is, and it's so fucked up. I was talking with a buddy at work yesterday about just when you get in that state, it just feeds itself. Like, you get home and you fucking know better, but you just lay on the couch and you don't have the energy to go have a shower, and you're like, you should, right? And you should, and then you're not eating, or the stuff that you are eating is so easy that it's shit, right? Obviously, it's just processed because it takes work to make a salad, but obviously it's good.
Yeah.
Just all those things. And then obviously, it's so easy to grab a beer and get in that. And it just feeds itself. And it's so easy to be in that. And and then it starts to feel really hopeless.
Yeah.
To come out the other end. Like, for a few days, you can, you jump out of it. It's kind of like when you're even looking at your weight or your fluctuating weight. For a while there, you'll just be like, I'm doing okay. And then at some point you stop lying to yourself and you realize, like, holy fuck, shit got out of hand. And then you almost feel hopeless on, like, how can I get this back on track? Right. So it's a battle. It really is. And it's such a fine line with any kind of depression or sadness or like, it's tough. And if you got all this energy around you, that's not the greatest either. Yeah. It's it's a battle. You're up against it. But I mean.
Yeah. And that's why I'm saying, like, when you lean into your feelings, it is important that it is more empowering ways, right? Like, that's, I guess, where you, again, need to make a conscious choice to be like, I'm allowed to feel shitty, but I'm going to allow myself feel shitty and journal and, or, eat a salad. And I already said, like, eat a bag of chips. Yeah. Okay. Eat a bag of chips. Like, if
just don't let it roll into fucking 3-4 months of.
Make a conscious choice. For like 10 minutes later not to eat another bag of chips, right? Like, so definitely feeling the feels and following your heart, but I guess bringing your head with you as well, right? And so coming back to these, what was I going to share? I guess there was something I was going to share, but I totally forgot what it was. So we'll just come back to the relationship stuff. Because So first of all, it's really important to understand that about yourself, right? Like, and stopping that cycle, or even just allowing yourself to feel the feels, and not numbing out. And once you kind of know, and you're taking, we're all about personal responsibility all the time, right? So you have to change yourself first, but also now bringing it into your relationship. How can you be there for your partner in this time of uncertainty? And I think this is why we're saying like 2020. And that's what I was going to say. Like, you're talking about depression. And I think that depression and anxiety is like a daily thing for most people right now, because of these fears of your job and your money and your freedoms and dying and missing and grieving and all of the things that I listed. Right. So it's really easy. It's designed to be really easy to stay in those constant feelings of fight or flight. Right.
Yeah.
So getting good with yourself first, like choosing to feel better by feeling your shitty feelings, but then taking it into your relationship. And so I know we were just talking about this a little bit earlier, but like really having love and compassion and respect for your partner, and noticing, like being present enough with them that you can even notice when they're not being themselves,
right?
Or, you know, knowing their numbing patterns. And I'll share what Mike and I were just talking about, because I said, when I get caught up in like the worldly events or certain things, like if I read an article or I seen a post on something and then I like feel the fear in my body instantly, I want to just go into it, because I feel like, well, if I know more, I can control more. And if I know what's going on in the world, then I can figure it all out and I can control it. And then I just like ignore my family and I ignore everything and I just sit on the couch and like read it. And that's where I can go. Right. And, that's not serving me. It's not serving
No,
my
it doesn't help
family.
us either. Yeah.
I'm never going to solve the problems. And so the only thing I can do is, again, get good with myself and find my own inner peace and trust and faith. And that's what will feed the light, feed the world, right? And so I was saying to you, like, when you notice me in that state, just when you reach out and you're like, hey, do you need to talk? Like, are you okay? What's bothering you? What else would you ask me? Oh yeah, I put in there cuddle. Want to cuddle? So like just really being aware of our partners too when they're in these moments, and being there for them, because
this is the time we need each other. Like what's the fucking point of being in a relationship if you can't lean on the person right now?
Yeah.
Like lean on them in a not, I don't know, I was going to say healthy way, but that doesn't even fucking matter. It's your partner. It's your relationship. Like you fucking help each other. Yeah. I don't know. Like there's no other way to say that. Like you're there, you gotta, you know, help out and be someone to talk to, be that shoulder to cry on or lean on if you have to.
Yeah.
But there's a certain point too, like there's a little bit of tough love in that too.
Yeah.
You can't just freak out on anybody or freak out on the person, but sometimes like I need that for sure. Time to time, you need that jolt of like, what the fuck are you doing? And it's like, oh shit, sorry. Like you're back to it, right? Like,
but you also have to know when there's a time and a place for that, right?
Because there is tough love, but then you have to have compassion.
Yeah. If you're at a certain place in your relationship where if you said to your partner, like, what the fuck, they probably would just, you know, feel like their back's up against the wall and get defensive and you don't win, right? Whereas I feel like we can kind of say those things to each other, even if we do trigger each other, it's for like 5 or 10 minutes, because then it's like,
yeah, you're right.
Okay, you were right. Yeah. Like, but otherwise that can cause a big issue for sure, a bigger issue, right? But I totally get what you're saying, and we do need that, right? Like,
oh, absolutely. Because
that's how we call each other out.
Being in the same house and then two depressed people doing totally different self fucking medicating things, and then generally if you got kids, then your kids are kind of stuck in the middle of that, just numbing out on their phone or iPad or watching TV, right? Which doesn't do fucking anything, because then you're just feeding that kid's brain full of shit too. So it's a really tough. It is a tough time. It's tough navigating, and as long as you have that partnership, I think you'll get through it no matter what. Yeah. And that's what you got to lean on that person. There's, depending where you're at in your relationship, obviously there is love there somewhere, right?
Well, yeah.
And I mean, depending where that is, it's just, you got to help that person. You got to help your partner. You got to have their back, and you got to do what's best for your family, like your immediate family. Don't worry about fucking all these people around you. You worry about your immediate family.
Yeah.
That's your tribe.
Yeah. And I think what you were saying too reminds me of, I think, a podcast 1 or 2 back where we were talking about react and regret. And that was more in the aspect of like your patience, right? And anger and outbursts.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's the same thing here where it's like, if you get caught in your fears and going down those rabbit holes or like just being stuck in your depression or your anxiety, it's kind of the same thing, right? You are still reacting. It's just in a different way than being impatient. But then that still does all the same things as that other conversation we had, because it still then brings regret after, because then you're like, shit, I just wasted the whole night like looking at my phone or thinking I could solve the world's problems.
And now was the time you could have did something great.
It could have been playing a game, or it could have been even reading a book or sleeping. Like that would have been more helpful, right?
Exactly.
So the whole react and regret, I mean, I think it applies to everything that we talk 100%. About, right?
Yeah.
But also too, I think that a really important thing in relationship when you do notice that your partner is struggling is always knowing that like that line of communication is open, right? And I know we have that, which we never used to have that, so it did come with time, but like it came with building trust in each other, that like I actually could share my feelings with you without you reacting, and vice versa, right?
Yeah.
Overreacting or even just reacting or making it about you or me, right?
Or throwing that in the face, right?
Or throwing it in your face. Or the other thing is like disregarding it altogether, right? And that's always been a thing for me, was like, oh, I don't feel seen or heard like in my own life. That's been things that I've healed in my past. And so if you would ever just like fluff me off, right? Then if I tried to share something of worth to me, then right away I'm just like, well, you don't care about me, right? And then that just makes me feel shitty, which obviously is myself. You can't make me feel anyway. So like you're just highlighting that for me, right? But so I think that in this, when you say like, when you notice your partner maybe struggling or just not being themselves or numbing out on something, and you're like, hey, are you okay? With that comes the ability to listen without trying to fix, which we've talked about before, but also without really expectation as well. Like just truly being present and listening to what they say. And if they go off on some crazy tangent about being fearful, it's like, you don't call them crazy. You don't say, oh, that would never happen.
Right.
Like, oh, you're being a little bit out there, or like, you know, if you think, well, I'm going to die, or I'm, you know, whatever that might be, it's like, it's not going to happen to you. Right. Like, but you're not helping them process that emotion.
No, not at all.
Right. So just listening and asking questions and allowing your partner to feel heard and seen, because then they feel respected, and then that helps them let go and release. And so that goes very well into what I was, when you asked me like, well, how do you lean in?
Yeah.
So if you do have a partner that you can lean into your discomfort with, then that's exactly how, right? Just having really open, honest conversations about stuff really helps you process your emotions. And once you are able to do that, you're like, okay, it doesn't really have the charge that it did before.
No, it generally doesn't, right? Like after you can process it a little bit and had someone to talk it over with, or even just talk out loud or throw ideas around, you realize like, okay, we'll be fine. And then you have each other and
and get it out of your head.
Oh, 100%. And that's why even at work, I have to do that a lot. Like I have a giant whiteboard behind me and just get everything out on there, brain dump that. And then I have my foremans with me and like, you know, talk things out with them. And it seems daunting, but if you have a couple, 3, 4 people on your team that, or your like your partner, right? Or generally on job sites where, you know, if you got your supervisor, then you have a foreman. That foreman wears a lot on their shoulders or bears a lot, and you can talk things out with them. And then they're the boots on the ground actually getting it done, but then they can bounce things off of you. Yeah. And once you have that open relationship where they can ask, or both ways, but they can ask you questions and not feel stupid. Yeah. Because I mean, like my foreman right now, he's fucking unreal, journeyman carpenter, done all these things, but he's still like myself included. Like we both talk to each other about like probably stupid questions that we should know, but we just bounce off each other, and it just makes things that much better. Yeah. So it's same with your partner, right? Like just don't make them feel stupid. Like there is no, say it all the time, right? Like, there's no stupid questions, and there really isn't, because it doesn't even matter. You just got to talk it out loud. Then once it's out loud, it generally fizzles away. Like there's no real big problems, but inside your head, fuck, you just fester it, right? Yeah. And seems like the worst thing ever. But then you talk it out with somebody and it's like, oh, it's not
Yeah.
even that bad. But that other person has to reciprocate that and listen instead of, no, that's just stupid, that's dumb. And then it makes you feel even worse, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But if you have that safe space, safe working environment, safe relationship environment, man, there's nothing you can't get through. Sure, things are scary and daunting, but at the same time, like I know we can get through anything. Well, we've been through a lot, right? So
yeah. And if it does get really bad, no matter whether it's health, money, freedoms, grieving, like whatever, all the things I've listed, if it does get really bad, you have this person with you.
100%.
And you're not on different pages because you just ignored each other and ignored your problems the whole time, right? Like you're on the same page. They know your fears. You know their fears. You've worked through them. And so, yeah, I just think you'll be way better off.
Oh, absolutely, man. It's so much nicer having that partnership. Like, again, I talk about work where, if I was doing this all by myself, it would just crumble, right? Like your shoulder, you just don't have it. But having a great team behind you, having really good, you just build that relationship. You built that environment, that open environment, that cohesive freaking collaborative environment. Everything's just so much easier. You don't bear everything on your shoulders.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so much nicer that way.
And I think that's a part of building trust in a relationship is there's kind of two aspects, is even just being there for your partner, but then allowing your partner into you as well, right? Like, because we have so many guards up, but we can allow our partners to feel more safe by listening and being respectful of their thoughts and opinions. And then they're going to let their guard down more and they're going to let you in. They're going to share more with you, which only builds stronger connection, stronger intimacy, right?
Oh, totally.
It all goes deeper. So,
and then your kids see that, like you have that relationship with your kids and then they see it and they know that that's normal. Like that's what it should be instead of seeing all this other weird shit. And then they grow up and do the exact same thing into another toxic relationship. Exactly. Right. So they know how things should be. And then they're not going to settle with somebody that's not helping them at all, or they're the ones that have to do everything.
Yeah, exactly. And I think too, if you're listening to this and you think, well, my kids are already older, or like I already missed that boat. It doesn't matter. No, you're a change maker, a way shower. Like no matter where you are in your life, you start making changes, they're going to feel it. I mean,
it doesn't take long either. If people see you that happy, first they'll fucking try to put you down or try to shit on your ideas. But you start doing that for 5, 6, 7 months, then all of a sudden it's like, wait a second, what's this person doing? And then generally they'll jump on board with you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So no, that's good.
Exactly. Okay, so we're gonna wrap it up here because Mike needs to get to sleep. No, I'm just kidding. You do feel better, don't you?
I do feel better. Yeah.
See, this is a prime example of do the thing, right?
Yeah. Well,
do the thing that you'll feel better. It's just again that 5 seconds. It took 5 seconds to make the choice that we're gonna do the podcast, and now you feel good.
I know. I didn't even do my hair. I put a hat on. Love hat, by the way, available on LaRocque.com.
Good plug.
Yes.
Okay. So I want to just end on this note and then we'll share like a little tool or a challenge for the week for you. But there's a lot going on right now collectively. There's a lot of fear everywhere. There's a lot of division. There's just a lot of fear. It's the only way to wrap it up. So it's so important right now to protect your energy. And in protecting your energy, that means feeling the feels, letting go, and then choosing what you want to put in. So if you want to put love in, be intentional with that. What does love look like? What are your values? Who do you want to spend time with? Your family, your kids? How do you want to spend that time too? Like, do you want to spend it playing and having fun, or do you want to spend it looking at your phone, being consumed by the world events and being fearful of everything that's happening? So, I mean, my biggest recommendation, and this is because I've been through it, roller coaster of emotions as well this year and experienced all aspects of it. And what I've come down to is I got to feel the feels, got to protect my energy. So got to shut off the news, got to shut off social medias. and just focus on what I want. Be very intentional on how I treat my body, how I treat my mind, how I treat my emotions, who I hang out with, and then what I choose to do in that time. So I just wanted to share that with you, because if you're listening and any of that resonates with you, then take it, please.
Yeah, 100%.
Take it. And also, I want to say reach out, because as we're saying all this stuff about partners and relationships, some of you might be listening and thinking, I don't have that. Either I don't have a partner, or my partner's just not there, or my partner is struggling so bad that he's not, or I'm struggling so bad and he wouldn't understand me or she wouldn't understand me. Reach out to us.
Yeah. And you start chipping away at things and it'll get there.
Yeah. And just the whole like talking out with your partner and processing your emotions, you can do that with anybody. We're a relationship podcast. So we're talking about relationships. But I mean, if you're not feeling like you have that in this moment, I don't want any person who's listening to this to feel left out. So reach out to me or Mike, both of us, or individually if you prefer one of us. Just reach out.
It's not a competition, Laura.
It better be me. No, I'm just kidding.
Probably will be.
I'm just kidding. But whoever, like, just reach out, just talk, process your emotions. There's no judgment. We just want to see everyone feel peaceful and not scared, right? Like,
exactly.
Help you process, help you move through that. So,
life's fucking hard enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Well, what do we got for a challenge this week? Or tools even, I guess it's not a challenge.
Well, it's kind of a challenge. This one's a challenge, is to shut off the news and radio or even social media, like limit it, if nothing else. I'm going to say shut off the news no matter what. Don't watch the freaking news. But limit your social media. Yeah. Just protect your energy in that way. Like, put in what you want to feel. And I guarantee you, if you're watching the news or scrolling social media, it's probably not what you want to feel. No. Unless you're really, really good at having your news feed, like following the people and the
if it's uplifting
or whatever
stuff,
that are super uplifting. But just know that it's all designed to keep you in fear. Yeah.
And please don't get in an argument in the comments. Do that this week. That'd be a good challenge. Don't engage in the arguments.
Yeah, I guess that's a good challenge too, right? Like, so when you feel triggered by something that you see, that could be a challenge this week too. Instead of being a keyboard warrior and typing it out, challenge you to just put your computer down or put your phone down and go and look at yourself.
That makes you that much stronger. Yeah.
Why am I so triggered by this? What is it that this person said? What is it that I'm seeing in the world? What is it, what is going on that is firing me up? And then go ask all those questions that we talked about earlier in this episode. That's a really good idea, Mike.
Yes.
But then the other thing I just wanted to say is check in with yourself. It all fits in, right? Check in with yourself and really just ask yourself, is it okay to admit that you're not okay, both to yourself and to your partner, right? Because again, going back into that whole level of trust in your communication with your partner is to be able to say too, like, kind of struggling right now. I just need to have a chat. Do you have time?
Yeah, totally.
And ask for permission. I will share, I never even thought of this till just now, but on that note of communication, I do have a free download on my website. If you go to LaRocque.com, you can download it's a Speak Your Truth communication guide for women. Yeah. We've talked about that on episodes before, but it's really, really great at how to process your emotions as a woman, and then how to respectfully ask for permission and space to bring that to your partner. So if that's something you're feeling pulled to, you can just go to LaRocque.com and download that as well.
Oh, perfect. Okay, well, let's wrap it up there.
All right.
Okay, well, I love you.
I love you too.
Love you guys.
I love you. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. Find us on social media at LaRocque Life Podcast and online at LaRocqueLife.com. Ladies, find Laura on social media at Laura LaRocque and online at LauraLaRocque.com. Have a request for a show topic? We love that. Send us an email at michael@LaRocqueLife.com or DM at LaRocque Life Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review.